Mr. Kelly, 5 minutes.
Minister, your government announced $1 billion cut to the Defense Department. How will that cut, or will that cut, result in an increase in the ability of the Canadian Armed Forces to respond to domestic disaster calls?
Well, of course, Mr. Kelly. It's not going to result in an increase, but what we are committed to do, it is that it does not in any way diminish the capacity of the Canadian Armed Forces to respond to the missions we send them on.
Is this cut going to increase, or will this help your government solve the crisis of recruitment and retention in the forces?
We are absolutely committed that it won't interfere with that solution. There are in every bureaucracy, Mr. Kelly, expenditures. We have a responsibility, and I would expect you might support that we would have every responsibility to make sure that we're spending money wisely and well.
Is it your contention that there is waste within the bureaucracy, and that there is $1 billion in fat to be trimmed from the bureaucracy?
No, I think what we are acknowledging is that there are money spent that does not necessarily contribute, most importantly, to the capability of the Canadian Armed Forces or to the support that we provide to the members who do that important work. And so we're looking very carefully at those expenditures to make sure if they're not supporting those things, we are going to take the steps necessary to make sure that we spend Canadian taxpayer dollars well.
Thank you. The Chief of Staff had expressed concern about cutting the department without ultimately interfering in our operational capability.
Yeah, and I heard him very clearly, that his concern. I share that concern, and that's why we're working so hard to make sure that as we respond to Treasury Board's request for the reductions that they've sought, that they do not in any way interfere with the General's ability to deliver those services or the support that we provide to his members.
Are you satisfied, General Lear, that $1 billion can be cut from the Defense Department's budget without interfering with your ability to fulfill your obligations as Chief of Staff?
Could tie this somehow or another by some remote means into the subject matter.
Readiness for domestic operations.
Well, you didn't tie that in, so it is a generalized question. So that's why, if the General could be specific, that will be helpful.
Well, Mr. Chair, I can't answer that question yet because we haven't seen what the results are.
Fair enough, and I don't want to put you in too bad of a spot there next to the Minister. But Minister, could you comment then on your
He's pretty safe sitting next to me.
Yeah, could you comment? Your departmental reports reveal that lapse spending has become endemic under your government. It is a problem that continues to get worse. According to your departmental results, the defense team was very slightly overspent on the authorities granted and available for use. Exceeded the authority by about $12 million. So that's small. That's a rounding error, but that's the area that you actually spent the money and then some on what was authorized. The areas that were underspent, that were lapsed money, where money that was authorized by Parliament has not been spent, include operations, ready forces, future force design, procurement of capabilities, sustainable bases, information technology systems, and infrastructure. Every one of those categories had significant lapsed funding. Will these lapsed funding expenditures, are they going to help us and your department's ability to meet domestic operational deployment needs?
Go ahead.
I'm going to turn to the Deputy Minister, who might be able to provide.
I'd like to hear your answer. We get the officials more frequently.
Well, of course, but I'm going to turn to the Deputy Minister to give you some information.
Okay.
If you'd like any facts,
yes.
He can
quickly,
provide.
Sure.
Mr. Chair, what I would focus in on, some degree of lapsing is healthy. You want to be kind of in the 3% range because it's illegal to overspend the total vote by Parliament, and that money gets reprofiled. I would encourage the committee, when we focus in on lapses, to look at projects, because when project money lapses, it means two things. We can always carry that money forward, but it erodes because of inflation. It also means we use assets longer than intended and their maintenance bill goes up. We have a significant amount of lapsing last year, for instance, nothing to do with projects. It's delays in settling a class action lawsuit. That's just the process at work. That's fine. We have a grant program we launched this year that the take-up has been less than initially expected. That's fine too. Projects are the one that concern the Chief and I the most, because that's the project to deliver the capability, and sometimes that's ourselves being delayed in defining requirements. Other times it's challenges with industry. There's a myriad of reasons, but I would really encourage the community to zero in on those lapses related to projects.